what a World Cup draw. USA and England, what a tasty matchup. And this group is just filled with teams that could advance. I'm already getting shtick from my friends here in England, so I cannot wait until these games happen. Today, we're going to go through the teams and matchups for the US men's national team, my brutally honest expectations of this World Cup draw and group, but most importantly, I want to show you guys why this could actually be the best group to be in for the US men's national team because of how it sets us up for a deep run into the tournament. Guys, if we could get 400 likes on this video, that would be amazing. What's up, everyone? I am Jake, and this is FIFAmerica. This is the place to talk about US soccer. Let's talk about the US men's national team and their World Cup group draw. All right, so the group is set up as England from pot 1, US from pot 2, Iran from pot 3, and the winner of the European playoff as pot 4. This is interesting because Wales could have been in pot 3 if they had qualified automatically, and it just sets us up for so many interesting battles, not just for the US and England, possibly having to face off against another team on the same island, having to face off against their former colony, the United States of America, and Iran, and the undercurrents between the US, England, and whoever wins that European playoff is just incredible. I'm excited for this group just because of all of the stories behind it. I couldn't be happier because of where we stand in terms of difficulty. If you look at ELO ratings, which are the average ratings for these teams, this group is the third toughest in the World Cup. So in my mind, you're going to the World Cup, right, to play against the most difficult opponents, the best teams in the world. Being in the third most difficult group is perfect for the US. Just gives us enough challenge, but still, it's very possible and it's very realistic to expect that we can advance into the knockout stages. This England team, though, is genuinely, I think we're going to undersell it as US fans, remembering the 2010 team, but this England team has experience together. They are great in almost every position. They have depth, and they've been to a final in a European competition. I expect England to walk away with this group with 7 or 9 points, and everybody else in the group to scrap for second. Iran is one of the highest ranked teams in pot 3, and whoever wins that pot 4 playoff is going to be one of the highest from pot 4. So I know a lot of people are worried about this World Cup, but at the same time, again, this is where you face the best competition. We shouldn't be shying away from any teams. I know we as US fans want to downplay how good England can be and is right now, but they are a damn good team that lost on pens in the Euro final, and they have a ton of experience together as a team. USA versus Iran has so many political undercurrents, global undercurrents, and footballing undercurrents as well. We have never beat them in an official competition. Is now the time? Maybe. They have a really, really good team led by their striker Taremi, but their players are all across Europe from really good teams. And I think the difference here is when you look at the US team, their talent is all on Champions League teams in our starting 11, but we might not be producing at this point. When you look at this Iran team, almost every starter for their position are producing at a high level in good European teams. I know we'll want to say a team from that region isn't going to be an issue, but this is a solid group. And I can't speak too much about Scotland, Wales, or Ukraine just yet, but I think they are the perfect team to round it out. Personally, I think player by player, Ukraine is probably the strongest team. However, a lot of their players aren't training right now because of the war in Ukraine. So Scotland and Wales do have a good chance to advance. Wales is probably going to be the team that I expect to round out our group as the fourth team. All right, now let's talk about my expectations for this World Cup just very early on, because the US men's national team is probably on talent alone the second best team in this group, but there are so many intricacies and variables that could completely derail that, so let's take a deeper dive. If our MMA midfield can be healthy and our front three can produce, the US is going to be a volatile wild card for any team in the World Cup, and they will not want to cross us. Now here's where it gets good and really bad for the US fans. The team's starting 11, again, is made up of mostly Champions League and Europa League quality players. However, they are young and inconsistent. If we're playing Yunus Musa, Ricardo Pepi, and Gio Reyna, our front six has an average age of around 21 years old. Over the next few months, this team needs to play together and gel and build genuine chemistry if we're going to have any chance in the World Cup. The other big issue that I don't think is going to be a surprise for anybody here is our coach. Our coach has gotten us to this point. He's won 2 regional tournaments, but I'm sorry, Greg Berhalter is not at the level we need to be to trust that he's going to take us deep into the World Cup. We cannot compete consistently on the world stage with Greg as our coach. And that small word there is one I want to highlight: consistency. If the US can put in consistent good performances and build chemistry throughout the summer and leading up to the World Cup, we will be a danger to any team that faces us. But it's just as likely that we leave with 2 or 3 points and get knocked out in the group. This is because of inexperience, because of inconsistency, and because of the lack of identity through our coach. Now, if that scares the shit out of you, I actually want to tell you why you should have a lot of hope for where we are in the draw, and actually why this could possibly be the best position for the US going into the group stages. Now, everyone is referring to Group A as the group of life. That is Qatar as the top seed, an ineffective Netherlands, a good Senegal team, and a borderline Ecuador team. I think they're kind of in the same boat as the US, just very inconsistent on a national team level. And that's where things get interesting, because the winner and second place of Group A is who matches up with Group B in the knockout stages. If the US can get out of the group to the knockouts, they're either going to face a Qatar team that is playing at home but not great, and we've played them in the Gold Cup and beaten them in the Gold Cup before, an ineffective Netherlands that went into pot 2 because they've really failed over the last few years, but still have very strong players in Depay, Van Dijk, and all around them. But honestly, if you're going to look to a group that you want to play in the first knockout stages in the round of 16, we could not be in a better position to play against Group A. It's a high risk, high reward position for the US, as it will take a lot of effort and talent to get out of the group stages. But honestly, if we wanted to make a deep run into 2022 World Cup, Group A is the teams that we wanted to face going into the knockout stages. Because of how crazy the World Cup can get, we could potentially be playing any of the 4 teams if we get out of the knockout rounds. And don't forget that in 2010, England thought this group was going to be easy and we topped the group. If we beat the Group A team in the knockout stages in the round of 16, it obviously gets a lot more difficult from there. But honestly, at that point, anything can happen in one-off games. And we have something that we have never had before on a US team. Genuine game changers in Christian Pulisic and Giovanni Reyna. We'll see how it shakes out though. We need a healthy team, we need a confident team, and we need a gelled team. This next 7 months is going to be a wild ride for any fan of US soccer.
The thing is, if you just do stuff and nothing happens, what's it all mean? What's the point?
And on that point, if you love US soccer and want to talk about it, you want to listen to it, you have come to the right place. Make sure to subscribe to FIFAmerica so you don't miss any videos leading up to the World Cup this winter. Nations League is this summer. There will be friendlies, there will be club competitions, and it's all leading up to the biggest stage on earth, the World Cup in Qatar. Peace, everyone.